a new Twitter feature. No, not the one that you want, but another Twitter feature. And TV and film actor Todd Allen Crain is going to be jumping on today to share what he has learned about promoting his work and his workshop. Look, he's already requested to be on the live, so Todd, sit tight. But first, just want to, oh, and hey, hi, Fire Demon 2021. Wave to you as well. Say hi. But this is WLTW. This is what I learned this week. And every single week, we ask artists what they are doing to help promote themselves online, to promote their work, promote their workshop in Todd Allen Crain's situation. And this is a time where you can not only learn from other artists, not only get some tips that then you may want to employ for next week, but it's that idea that you can take a moment to figure out, wait, what did I learn this week? What's actually working for me this week and what I'm trying to do to further my career, to get a little bit farther. So this is that time where you can reflect, share it in the comments, let us know things that you have learned. And that's just kind of what we do here. It's the whole idea of artists helping other artists learn how to navigate these social media waters. So I'm Annie Schiffman. I'm the founder of Downstage Media, and Downstage Media started so that way we can give actors, performing artists, directors, theater companies a plan of what to post online because they're already connecting with their audiences on stage. So we give them a plan of what to post online so that way they can really capitalize on what's happening. So that's me. So I'm looking, most of the things that I share on WLTW have to do with like the theater space through the lens of social media. But we're going to hear from Todd Allen Crain about what he's learned as well in that same sort of sphere. But of course, at any time, you can share what you've learned. Just leave a comment down below. Now, we're going to be giving you a bunch of information fast and furious. So if you can't get it all down, don't worry. This is going to be up for the next 24 hours, but you could go to downstage.media/blog, and we've got everything all written out for you. Okay, so what I learned this week, we're going to get to Todd Allen Crain in a moment, but what I learned this week is that Twitter has a new feature. No, it is not the option to edit your tweets. I know, that's the feature we all want from Twitter. They're not giving it to us. And there are people who say, oh no, I don't think you should be able to edit your tweets. No, those people are lying and they are not telling the truth because everyone wants to be able to edit their tweets. I don't understand why you can't, but that's not the feature. The feature is now when you retweet something, not only can you use text, but you can use a video, you can use a picture, and you can use a GIF. So go to downstage.media/blog. You could sort of see what this looks like. It's happening in action, but there's a lot of ways that you can use it. So leave a comment below if you've used this feature, how you've tried to use this feature. But where I thought was kind of fun is on Downstage Media on Twitter, we found, like for example, this morning, I think it was Broadway World or Playbill was tweeting about how the cast of Tootsie just announced the production of Tootsie just announced that they're doing a national tour. So then I can not only say congratulations, but I can say congratulations with a GIF of Dustin Hoffman going like that. And now it adds a little context, it adds a little humor. I'm able to put in our 2 cents for Downstage Media. So that's really kind of a fun way to insert yourself into the conversation and be able to do it a little bit more playfully or with just a few more tools in your toolkit. So that's what I learned this week. But now we're going to switch over to Todd Allen Crain. Todd Allen Crain and I met about 10 years ago. We were doing an improv gig together. Now let me see if I can get him on. As we all know, I think Instagram's a little bit of a diva. So we're going to do the best we can. This usually works. Hold on here. Make sure that that's not. Yep. Okay. All right. So Todd, you can come on. I just gave you the A-OK, so we'll see if this works. In the meantime, oh, hey.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi, I'm good. I got to tip a little bit because my top of my head is missing.
I know. There's always a little tipping involved. Hi. So
only for good service, though. There's only tipping involved for good service.
Right. Exactly. And it's
hi. Yeah. Right.
So so Todd and I, we met like, was it 10 years ago? Was it that long ago?
I think it was. I think it was. And I've worked with both you and your husband. And it's always been just an amazing experience. You guys are such great improviser-based actors, which is always such a thrill for me to work with. And I have such an admiration for that entire realm of the business, which is not always easy to break into. But
Well,
you guys seem to have mastered that.
That's what was so fun with when we first met, because it was like there were 8 or 10 improvisers and just genuinely funny people working together. We were working on this one like corporate
Yes.
event, and it was so clear how quick and fast and hilarious you were. And it was not surprising to me when I started seeing through Facebook and through social media that, oh, you're appearing here, and oh, you're also appearing there. So all of a sudden you had all of these TV and film appearances, and it was like, okay, this makes sense that you would, that other people would pick up on that, on how talented and funny and fast and then profesh you are.
Yeah, thanks. It's a tough business, as everybody knows. There's nothing easy about this. A friend of mine that I have been friends with for a very long time, she was nominated for a Tony Award for her performance in Beautiful, the Carole King musical. And one of the things that keeps just rolling around in my mind is the fact that this business is, especially for her, she has said to me, it gets easier, it never gets easy, which is a really great way to think about this entire thing, because the entire business is a challenge. No matter what stage you are in your career, if you're just starting out or if you've been in the business for a very long time, it's always hard. No matter what you do, there's always going to be some obstacle that you have to face. And having the background that where you are live on your feet and you can think quickly on your feet and react to things quickly on your feet, as an improv actor does, it seems to help make everything easier, because you're not panicked by things that change instantly, and things change at the drop of a hat so quickly in this business, as everybody knows.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. So you have a workshop coming up, right? So
I do.
So that's going on, and so this. And I mean, I feel like it's sort of moot now, because since you and I started talking about this, I know that you are selling really quickly and there's only a few more spots available.
Yes, that's true.
So what you're doing on social media is clearly working, but you know, we know that social media is such a great way to market yourself. So what are some things that you've learned about your acting workshop? And then we'll get into what the workshop itself is, but what have you learned about how to market yourself using social media?
It didn't just start with this workshop that I'm doing. The thing that I have learned, and I've done a couple of individual projects where I've tried to get the word out there myself, and the thing that I wrote to you yesterday or a couple days ago, that the 2 words that I would use is time vampire. And that's kind of true. Like, you're going to spend a lot of time trying to market yourself and market whatever product it is that you're trying to get out there in whatever medium that you're using. So if you're doing something, for instance, the workshop that I'm doing is in TV and film, I felt that it was kind of an important thing to do a video, like just a little 30-second video. And my friend Natalie she pushed me to do it, just to kind of get your face out there, because you're doing essentially an acting workshop. We would like to see just 30 seconds of what it is that you're interested in teaching us. So for those of you that might not know who I am, and I have a lot of people that are coming to the workshop that have already been familiar with my work, but in terms of marketing to people that I don't know, that's one of the major things that I found useful for me, was getting a video out there. It doesn't have to be very long. It has to be very concise, and this is something that I mentioned to you earlier, is that you have to be concise, you have to be clear, you have to be thorough with what it is that you're trying to say in a very short amount of time. And that's exactly how TV commercials work. Like, they have 30 seconds or they have a minute. And that's it. You've got to get all of the information that you want to pass on to your targeted audience in a very short amount of time. So you've got to really nitpick every single word that you're using and make sure that the structures of the sentences are clear and that you're not overselling it or underselling it. It's a challenge. And for somebody that's not what I do for a living, starting out, it's a little like, okay, I'm up right in the middle. It's like grabbing onto a moving train. Like, everybody is an expert in this already because social media has taken off, and and become such a major part of our lives. But when you're trying to market something yourself, it's a little disconcerting to try to do everything right the first time. So I've gotten a lot of opinions from friends on how they've marketed things, and my friend Natalie was all gung ho for me to put this video out there, and I was grateful that she did, because then I got a lot of responses from just that video. And my flyer post had been on Instagram and on Facebook and on Twitter for about a week, and things had kind of slowed down. So I thought, oh no, this is what happens now. This is the marketing where you have to jump back in and keep the ball rolling. So yeah. I've learned a lot.
That's, and I think especially it makes sense that your friend pointed you in the direction of a video, because your workshop is about TV and film acting. So it's about being on camera. And so then not only do they get to know who you are, but they're seeing the medium in which you're going to be teaching them in. Right. And so I'm going to have you just now for a bit, just sort of brag about what are some of the, now you can see Todd Allen Crain's reel on downstage.media/blog. Like it's right up there, but tell us a little bit about what your credentials are on film and TV. So that way, when you're leading this workshop next week, people know that you actually know what you're talking about.
Right. Well, thank you for that, by the way. I've been incredibly lucky in this business. I think that there are a number of factors that have to line up perfectly in order for you to find whatever level of success you're looking for in whatever you're doing, if it's acting or if it's computer science or whatever it is you're doing. Things have to line up in such a way that opportunities present themselves to you. And the key to that, for me, is being ready for those opportunities when they present themselves, because you have to be in a constant state of readiness. You have to constantly be able to do whatever character or create a character on the spot. And if you don't have the tools in your toolbox to do that, you're kind of lost when it's presented to you. So being what I like to refer to myself as a character actor, I love the fact that there are characters out there that I would feel haven't been seen yet or want to be seen in a different way. I have been incredibly lucky, as you've mentioned, to do a lot of projects lately. Over the past 5 years, I've kind of found my home, and I didn't know that television was going to be my home. I have a musical theater degree. That's what I went to school for. So when I moved to New York City, I was dead set on doing a big fat musical. That's all I had my sights on. I didn't know that I would find something else that might actually be what I might be better at. So once I was given the opportunity to do that, and I think my very first big thing on TV was I did the penultimate episode of 30 Rock, and it was an amazing experience because I got to work with such seasoned actors. They had been on the show. Alec Baldwin and Jack McBrayer had been on the show for 7 seasons. So here I was given this amazing opportunity, and on 30 Rock I played the adult version of Charlie from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the original film, not the Johnny Depp version. But so they wanted actors that kind of looked like the adult versions of those kids. So that's an example of being ready for an opportunity when it presents yourself to you. So I kind of look like the adult version of that kid from that film. Like pictures of me as a kid kind of look like that kid. So it's the perfect lining up and perfect timing of that particular moment that gave me my start. And then from there, it kind of snowballed. And once people start to recognize the fact that you've done something on camera, especially on that level. I mean, this was a big deal for me to do 30 Rock 2 episodes before they were finished, which was a huge deal for me. So then it snowballs into, guest starring roles on other shows where you're a recurring character. And that's even more pressure because that opportunity presents itself to you. And then you have to be ready. You've got to be ready to take advantage of those situations. If I wasn't confident with my own abilities, or if I didn't feel like I had a slew of theater credits on my resume, I don't know that I would have necessarily been ready to take on the challenges of doing a recurring character on a show on ABC called Quantico. And the woman who brought me on for that, I'm eternally grateful for for her, because her name is Jennifer Lynch, and she's the daughter of the film and TV director David Lynch, Twin Peaks David Lynch. And so she was she was my director for that episode that she brought me on to this set of Quantico on ABC, and I was there for 4 episodes, and that was the very first time that I'd been brought back on a recurring role. I was ready. I had opportunity, and I had my skill set all figured out. I knew exactly who this character was, and I had the ability to figure out that character because of the opportunities that I've been given prior to that. To be able to become what I'm going to talk about in my workshop on the 25th, you have to become kind of a detective. You're given a script with just some black and white markings on a white paper. And then from that, you have to be able to determine exactly what characteristics this character has, how that character speaks, how they speak to other people, the words that they use, the speed at which they speak. All of those things are an important factor when it comes to developing a believable character that is so far from yourself. So ended up doing a couple of more shows, and then this latest thing that I'm incredibly proud of was The Punisher on Netflix, which was a Marvel property. So it was cool to join the Marvel universe for a little while, and to join something that's so secretive, which I wasn't prepared for that part of it. They would not release the scripts to you before a few days before you started shooting. So you're kind of in the dark as to what's happening with your character and what you've actually done or not done. In my case, I was presented to be this terrible villain, and we don't know exactly, I didn't know exactly if I had done it. And so that's, you just have to be ready with the opportunity. You have to be ready for the opportunity when it presents itself to you. And then hopefully things line up perfectly and it all works out. And I had done a series of comedies leading up to that. Stuff on Broad City on Comedy Central. That was a big thing for me also, that kind of catapulted the whole, even more the television appearances that I did. So when I was presented with the comedy at all, and I was doing that for 2.5 months, and I was bloody and I was sweaty, and it was an uncomfortable situation. And if I wasn't ready, if I didn't have that tool set, the opportunity would have escaped me.
Right.
So being ready is the most important part of any area of this acting business, and knowing what your skill.
And I think then that's where sort of being a pro comes in, that even if they're not going to call you for a couple of months because your character's going to jump back in, then you need to be ready to sort of jump back in with it. So that is so exciting that you're going to have, you're going to be teaching those kinds of skills at your workshop next week. So you could go to downstage.media/blog. Right there is where we've got the picture up with the description of the workshop. It's it's in New York City. So if
it's in New York City.
And it is $10.
It's $10.
Which is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Like there's getting like hearts. People are like hearting that it's $10.
Because
here's
people
what
like
I'm
a
say,
good
because
deal.
Everybody knows. I'm pretty sure if you've kept up with our posts on Instagram, you know that Downstage Media is based out of New Jersey. If I were still performing, I would be getting gas, going through the Holland Tunnel at the new rate. I would be doing all of that and still feeling like that plus the $10 is worth the 4-hour workshop, for crying out loud.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Well, thank you for saying that. And people have brought that up to me a lot. That seems to be the overwhelming element of this workshop. Why is it $10? And I understand if you don't know me and you don't know my work, someone who's offering a $10 workshop, I'm not exactly sure that that's the greatest selling point, because shouldn't it be more expensive? Because that would suggest then that I'm going to get a lot out of it.
Right.
No, that's not what I'm presenting. What I'm presenting is an opportunity for you to learn from somebody who has a vast experience in this business for the cheapest rate I could possibly charge you. That was my goal. And there's a much longer story that goes with this, but I made myself a promise a long time ago that if I was ever in a position where I could give back to the career that I was hoping to have, which I currently have that career, which is awesome. If I could possibly give to that career.
Wait, hold on a sec. Let's have some hearts up on that. So everyone who just heard, he's got the career he was hoping for. That's the dream, right? He's living his dream. So let's get some hearts up on there for everybody who's watching right now.
My own heart. There it is. There's the little floaty heart. There it was. There's my own. Yeah, so I mean, I worked for a long time, and now I have this career because when I first got to the city, I didn't have anything. I didn't have anyone to talk to. I didn't have a resource that I could turn to and ask questions of. For instance, marketing. I didn't know how to market myself. After moving to New York City, I had no idea what was going on. So myself that if I was ever in a position to give back in some possible way, then I would make every effort to do so, and I wouldn't charge anybody for it, because that in some way is, and I've said this to many people before, and I'm going to say it again on my workshop on the 25th, it's somehow putting a fresh Band-Aid on that still open wound of that 22-year-old Todd Allen Crain who moved to New York City and didn't know what the hell he was doing. So it's kind of trying to make up for the fact that I went through such a rough period. And if I can guarantee that a series of actors or a number of actors, whoever decides to take part in if they don't have to go through what I went through, great. And it only costs you $10.
Right.
I feel really good about that. A lot of people have been pressuring me. This should be a lot more money. You should be charging a lot more money. Well, here's the thing. As a New York City actor, there's a lot of stuff you can spend money on. There are lots of seminars and your headshots and your resumes and the outfits for auditions and you have to babysitting if you have kids, like all of that stuff. There's a lot of stuff to pay for. Why shouldn't there be one thing that you can actually benefit from where you don't have to empty out your wallet to do it? It's 4 hours of your time on a Saturday from 12 to 4, and I think that you're going to learn a great deal about what it is that I do and what I have learned, speaking of what did I learn this week, what I have learned over being in this business for 25 years and having the opportunities to work in this business now. $10, 4 hours. If you can do it, great. If you can't, and you don't, the fact that it's only $10, then you don't have to come, honestly.
Right.
But
and then once you take that workshop, you can join us the week after on Friday and share in the comments what you learned this week, because that's what we do every Friday.
Your page is going to blow up, let me tell you. There's a lot to
Okay, so
there we go.
We're going to have to end here, but thank you so much, Todd Allen Crain, for joining us today. This was amazing. We learned some great stuff just from you. And please, if you have had a moment to think about what you learned this week, leave us a tweet, use the hashtag WLTW so we can find it and we can all learn from you, so that way artists can be learning from one another about how to market themselves online using social media. And join us next week, Friday at 2 o'clock. You can go, if you feel like you need a reminder, then there's a link in the bio. We'll send you a reminder via Facebook Messenger like 15 minutes ahead of time, so you'll already know, so that way you'll just hop on Instagram Live and boom, all that will be taken care of. But head to downstage.media/blog. Look at Todd Allen Crain's reel. Sign up for his workshop. See you next week. Thank you so much, Todd Allen Crain.
Thank you, Annie.